Greetings. For our mindful creative practice this week, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not actually making anything, but we're kind of approaching something that we may be doing a lot of regularly. The theme this week is focusing on kind of reading and how we read and how we can maybe read more mindfully. What we're going to do just this week is we're just going to be reflecting a little bit on the process of reading as we spend time kind of hunkered down and have lots of opportunities to read. I'm certainly cruising through a couple books at the moment. But we tend to think of mindful activities as things sitting in silence. For the Center for the Holy Imagination with our More Than Mindfulness Mondays, typically what we're doing is we're doing creative activities that work through kind of visual arts. But there's lots of ways to be creative. And I truly believe that when we read and we think about that and we process that, it is a way to engage our creative mind. So our creative mindful practice today is actually going to be about reading. The book that I'm choosing to kind of look at today is this book, Eiger Dreams by Jon Krakauer. It's really, really good. If you can get a chance to track this down, this is one of the best climbing books that I've ever read, books on climbing. And it's a collection of kind of short stories, articles that he's written over the years. And he's an excellent, excellent writer, and highly recommend checking this out. But the book, the part of this book that really caught my attention this week was one of his stories called On Being Tent Bound. If you can track this down, I recommend reading it. In many ways, we're all tent bound right now, and I think that this story resonates pretty well at the moment. I'm not going to read this for you, but I just want us to think a little bit about the ways that we read, and how we might be able to do that more mindfully, how we might be able to engage that creative experience within us in this process. Typically when we read, we're just maybe reading to try to gain the information. We're trying to maybe rationally try to figure out what it's saying. But with mindful reading, it's a little bit different. It's not that much different. Like all kind of mindfulness and contemplative activities, they're fairly intuitive. It's weird to even kind of teach it sometimes because really we know how to do these things deep down. But for mindful reading, kind of what you're doing is you're reading really slowly, and you're just kind of letting the words wash over you. You're not worrying too much about understanding it, but you're just kind of reading for reading's sake. So as you read through, just reading each line slowly, allowing it to be in your heart. We have the resonance reading exercise that we posted up as well. That's kind of a little deeper, more intentional way of doing this with this kind of mindful reading. It's not quite as strict. Clearly, you can read through the whole thing, but again, that sense of kind of moving beyond just the rational understanding of what we might be gaining from a text, but moving into kind of a deeper, what I would call maybe a soul understanding of the text, kind of a more contemplative understanding. So again, taking that time to read through it slowly, to not worry about whether it's being understood, but to simply just let it catch you wherever it may catch you, to allow the writer's intent and joy to be transferred as much as the information that's being transferred. Another thing you can do that can be kind of really good mindful reading is to allow the reading to spark your own imagination, your own creativity. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is through journaling. So as we go through and we're reading this, if something catches your eye, keep that journal right next to you and just jot ideas down as you go. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in relationship to what they're reading. We're not taking notes as if we're writing a paper. We're simply reflecting on what it is that we're experiencing in the text. So I encourage you this week, wherever you are, whether it's Jon Krakauer's On Being Tent Bound from his book Eiger Dreams or whatever it is that you're reading, I encourage you to try reading a little more mindfully, a little bit more slowly, or maybe reading in a way where you allow the text to unlock those creative elements. Maybe as you're writing, it inspires a haiku or a poem or gets you to write some prose. These are all creative activities, and we can be mindful in anything that we do creative. At the Center for the Holy Imagination, we truly believe that when we're engaging in that creative, imaginative part of ourselves, we are engaging with something deeper, something beyond us, and it's an important part of our existence as people to be able to engage in that creativity. So this week, again, a little bit different, not necessarily a strict activity, but encouraging reading whatever it is that you're reading in a more mindful manner. I hope that your week is well, and I look forward to seeing all of you in person soon. Go in peace.